Chris, if everybody that doesn't follow, I'm sure you guys have seen him. Chris has been building his brand for a long time now. He just relocated to beautiful Nashville, Tennessee, to continue to grow his brand over there with SEC Unfiltered. Chris has always long been one of the best people to follow regarding SEC college baseball, and he's been around the UF program. He's been around a lot of the SEC programs and was there in Hoover this past week, where the Gators did lose to Ole Miss in the second round. That is okay. They did clinch their 17th straight postseason tournament bid, where they will be heading to Conway, which is the Conway, South Carolina. That's the Coastal Carolina bracket, where they're going to face, obviously, Coastal Carolina, East Carolina, and Fairfield. Chris had a reaction video. He screamed, yes, yes, yes. For Florida Gator fans. So, Chris, break down a little bit about Gators baseball and about this upcoming regional tournament.
Well, yeah, first things first, guys, I appreciate you having me on. I was going to say congrats to Corey as well for the Josh Pate combo. I did see that all over the timeline, so really good stuff by you, my friend, and Jordan. It's good to see you as well. Dan, I know you're a bourbon connoisseur, so in light of the Conway Regional, this is Woodford Reserve Double Oak, because everybody should be having a toast because that was about as good a draw, I think, as Florida could have gotten. Yeah, I mean, listen, I was sitting there watching it like everybody else and was wondering where the Gators were going to go. And, there's no guarantees in this game, obviously, but I think Conway's about as favorable as it gets. I think Bama kind of feels the same way with going to Southern Miss, going to the Hattiesburg Regional. But, yeah, man, I mean, listen, it's just a red-hot Florida team that, I think you could have been shipped off to Chapel Hill, or maybe they paired you up with Tallahassee for a rivalry showdown. But, I think anytime you're an SEC team, or maybe you're a Power 5 team, but certainly SEC team, and you're going to a regional hosted by a mid-major, all due respect to those guys, you feel pretty good about it, right? I mean, I'll take a rotation with Liam Peterson, Pierce Capala, and Aiden King against whoever else everybody else is throwing. East Carolina's a really solid program. Fairfield, I think, is a stingy 4. And then Coastal's been really good, but I mean, Coastal went head-to-head with some SEC competition this year and got beat, and that was in the midweek. So all things considered, like maybe there's no such thing as an easy regional, but yeah, certainly when I saw Florida's name pop up as somebody who is very selfish. I mean, I want all the SEC teams to get to Omaha, but very, very selfishly pulling hard for the Gators to get there. And even too with the Super they matched up with the Auburn Super. I mean, there could have been much tougher draws that that some of the projections had them going to Austin if they won, or had them going to Baton Rouge. Again, all due respect to Auburn, if it is Auburn that comes out, I think the path as a Florida fan, you got to be pretty ecstatic with, and it feels like too, this Florida team playing with a bit of house money, right? I mean, halfway through the year, and even talking to those guys when they were sitting at 1-11, I think we were all pretty nervous that Florida was. Kevin O'Sullivan and company are going to miss the postseason the first time.
Some people were firing him on the timeline.
Yeah. It kind of reminded you of last year, right? Where, and of course, we were kind of in the same situation, a little bit different, but similar situation where Florida gets in as they're not a host and they make a run to Omaha. So you can never count out Sully and the boys. It's just, I talked to those guys, and even when they were 1-11, even with all the injuries, and I mentioned this to them, and I would put LSU in this bucket too, like what they did last year. It's just, I think when you have such a strong culture of winning, and what the expectation is, and the standard, like it's almost like there's no quit there. It's what you have to get to, what you have to do. I don't know if any of us saw them winning their last 6 SEC series in a row, but you can just talking to those guys, you can tell like that sense of belief and just understanding. The fans want to scream from the mountaintops what's the standard and the expectation. Nobody knows it more than them. Nobody was more pissed off than they were when they were sitting 1-11 in conference play. And I was nervous, but just started playing better baseball, used Mizzou as a bit of a springboard. And, man, from there, just, got a couple guys back healthy. I think Liam Peterson coming back in the rotation and being that dude on Friday night. Aiden King turning into a superstar that I think we knew he was capable of being. But, I mean, man, they're kind of playing with house money because what Florida did down the stretch, to
first
be
time
shorthanded. Ever. Yeah, first time ever a team that, started 2-10 or worse makes the postseason. And, we went out to Florida's practice in Hoover, and I talked to Ty Evans, and he simply put it to me just like, dude, we're not healthy, but we are hot. So I mean, that's it. We'll see if the Gator boys can stay hot. Yeah, we'll see if Gator boys can stay hot. But they're feeling good. I mean, I'd agree with you. Losing to Ole Miss in the SEC tournament is kind of whatever. But you got to love the draw, man. There's a lot more difficult paths out there. So I think Florida got a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at the pathway, I think Florida probably either had to make the final game or win the SEC tournament to probably solidify that one slot there. But Chris, you were around the program earlier this spring when the team wasn't doing as hot. You got to chat with Kevin O'Sullivan. And then obviously you're a baseball connoisseur. And, we normally have Nick on the show. He's been out the last couple of weeks. He'll be back next week, everybody. But normally we get this from a Gator slant, right? The Gator baseball, our Gator Diamond Pod has come on a few times. We get some folks that cover from a Florida perspective. So they're able to give their perspective as somebody that watches every game and is kind of plugged in from your outside perspective. And then in some of the conversations you've had with other coaches and, Kevin O'Sullivan and everything else, what do you think spurned going from 1-11 to finishing 15-15 in the SEC?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. So I was actually there for the Miami weekend when they took
That's
2
right.
of 3 and things were still pretty good, but that's when the injury started, right? Like that weekend that I was there and I was a little nervous. I was like, man, am I the jinx or something like that? Because it was like one after another. You had the Cade Curlin, and then what was it, Kyle Jones, and then Pierce Capalla goes out on Saturday, and you're like, they're just dropping like flies. Yeah, I mean, I think you look at the 1-11 start and what happened. I mean, number one, I think the schedule was a little bit front loaded, but I think really what happened was, I mean, listen, the lineup 2 or 3 weekends in SEC play looks so vastly different than what it did on opening day or what they expected to look like. I think some guys just had to sack up and grow up a little bit, just talking to them. I think there were just some guys that had to kind of come into their own. Everybody's got that light bulb moment, no matter what the industry is or whether it's sports or it's podcasting or it's business or it's whatever it is. Everybody's got that light bulb moment or a moment where like they meet an opportunity, you just have to rise to the occasion. I think just some guys – I remember after the Ole Miss series specifically talking to them, like it was a real come to Jesus moment for them, where it's like, hey, season's going to go one of two ways. Like we got a choice to make. We can either pack it up and we'll miss the postseason and we'll revamp the roster and it is what it is, or we can turn this season into something. And again, I just, getting Liam Peterson back was massive. I think that was a big deal. But again, a guy like Aiden King started pitching his tail off. I think Jake Clemente moving to the back end of the bullpen was huge for them because we all know about the pen struggles with, Philpott was very, very up and down. McNeely had his times. You lose and I forget his name, with the left-handed reliever. You lost him in the Miami series too. So there were just a lot. And then obviously at the end of the season, you're losing Colby Shelton. You lose Luke Heyman for the year, which is really unfortunate. Hopefully Colby's going to be back for the regional. But, yeah, I mean, it's just – I think guys just stepped up. You know what I mean? It's just guys just finally just said, hey, we've got to take it upon ourselves. Like this group of guys, it doesn't matter if we have 9 position players or 10 position players. And I know that sounds like I'm kind of oversimplifying it, but I think it really is as simple as that. Like some dudes just had to grow up and come into their own. And, sure enough, I think you got to give a lot of credit. Give credit to Kevin O'Sullivan, obviously, but I think he'll tell you, you got to give credit to the players just finally just emerging into their roles and just started playing better baseball. I mean, that's really just no other way to put it. So you knew the talent was there. That's what made Florida so dangerous. Really talented club. It just, early on, losing all those guys you lost, some leaders, I just, you took some lumps, and thankfully they came out of the other side of it.
Hey, Chris, we overcame a slow start to the season, overcame some injuries. Team's hot right now. Aiden King is my guy. I like that. I like his energy. I like his energy. Straight up dog. What on our roster, or just just looking at the region we're in, our bracket, what could be a hindrance? Either pitching staff wise, bullpen, whatever it may be, batting lineup. What could be our hindrance to making a run?
Yeah, I mean, I think for Florida, the bullpen depth probably still scares you a little bit. I love, like I said, I love Clemente at the back end, but even him at times makes things a little bit, I think back like the Texas series, and it's like you win the game, but he made it a little bit more interesting than I think anybody would have preferred. Again, Philpott has been very, very up and down.